Hello, welcome to this severe weather update for the U.S. and Canada. So today in the U.S. we have all those storms in New Mexico and Texas and some storms in parts of the north and northeast as well. So let's see what's happening here. We have that slight risk there in New Mexico and Texas and a marginal around it, a marginal from Kansas to Wisconsin as well, and another marginal there from Virginia to New York. So let's see. Tornado threat is now 5% there in New Mexico and Texas, so 5% of few tornadoes possible, so be aware, and a 2% around it. Let's see, wind threat 15% and a 5% as well, so be aware, and 5% in the other areas too for some damaging, some gusty winds and damaging winds. Hail also 15 and 5% there, and a small area chance of 2-inch plus hail in diameter, so be careful. Some large hail there, some 5% hail threat in the north as well, so be careful. Some storms in the south and some general storms in other areas. Scared severe storms capable of all hazards are possible this afternoon and evening parts of southern high plains, so be aware there. So let's see if there's something important. So yeah, be aware. Let's see, tomorrow it shows still a marginal there from Texas to Missouri, and tornadoes 0%, wind 5%, and hail a smaller 5% as well tomorrow. So isolated severe thunderstorms possible on Sunday from West Texas to central southern Missouri, so be aware. And let's see, day 3 for Monday shows a small marginal in Kentucky and Missouri and parts of Illinois and Tennessee and Arkansas. 5% probabilistic and some storms in other areas too. So isolated strong to severe storms possible across the Ohio Valley, Mid-South region on Monday. So be aware there. Let's see, for Tuesday and beyond, still nothing crazy, and fire threat is nothing today as well. So let's see here, this is the 15Z HUR. It shows already some showers there, starting New Mexico. Then it shows those severe storms firing eastern New Mexico and Texas later this afternoon. So it shows some big storms there. They go towards northern Texas, congeals into a big line of storms there through tonight, so be aware there. Into Oklahoma later too, some more storms in Oklahoma, and northern Texas into tomorrow morning. And the showers go all the way into Iowa there and Missouri, so shows some storms in Wisconsin with the marginal risk, some storms in Iowa too this afternoon, so be aware there. The marginal risk on the east shows some storms in West Virginia and Virginia, especially southern New York there in Pennsylvania, so might be some severe storms, be aware. And shows the HUR showing that snow over Colorado there and the rain, so be aware. Let's see here. So there's plenty of cape in the south, not huge amounts, but there is some cape there. So shows also parts of the mid-south, some cape, but most of the storms will be there. So be aware. And now let's see if we can see some more stuff. So with the HUR, it shows here like severe weather. Let's see. So the significant tornado parameter this afternoon shows like already some little parameters there this morning, but mainly let's see this afternoon. Early this afternoon already some slight parameters there, but later, let's see, later this 22Z still some parameters there around Texas, New Mexico. Let's see a little bit later. By like 0Z Sunday, like this evening, shows like some higher parameters central to eastern New Mexico, and later, let's see, later goes to even some higher parameters in southeastern New Mexico, so around there shows some relatively high tornado parameters later this evening, so be aware this evening in New Mexico with the tornado threat. This like 5Z Sunday, alright, very late this evening into tonight. It's already showing like, still showing some higher parameters there, still like some 3.5 or 2.5 tornado parameters there. So be aware of the tornado threat extending later into this evening. So starting late this afternoon and extending like until tonight. So this practically tonight already. So let's see, and all the way into tomorrow morning, there's still some slight parameters, so be aware in those areas. And the updraft helicity, let's see, the probability of rotating updrafts, like severe storm probabilities, indicates hail and severe wind, shows like the full run has some very big tracks over the Texas Panhandle and New Mexico. So the HER is showing like the strongest of severe storms in terms of hail and wind all over northern Texas there, but also showing some big stuff in New Mexico, especially later in the evening with that tornado threat. So be aware, be careful there. And let's see, there's the cape. There are different types of cape, like the most unstable cape. It doesn't show much cape there, but shows like this afternoon. Let's see, shows some higher cape in eastern New Mexico there. So be aware. And the mixed layer cape shows like also some similar amounts there, but nothing crazy, not like huge amounts. And let's see, the supercell composite shows higher there. Western Texas and eastern New Mexico, higher chance of supercells in those areas. So be careful if you are there. So let's see, and in a second we'll check the 12Z HER in another site, so you can see the storms in a different way. So now in terms of rainfall, does show some flash flooding potential, the severe storms, and the snow in Colorado, the mixed precipitation, and more storms. Tomorrow still some mixed precipitation there, more flash flooding in the rain. And day 3 still some mixed precipitation there and more storms in some areas. So the rainfall today shows a lot in Texas Panhandle there, so be aware. Some more for New Mexico, Missouri, and a lot of areas. Tomorrow shows more through Texas there, more through like the Midwest, Plains, and those areas, going all the way into Canada, and more some slight rainfall in Florida, very little, and little in the southeast too. For next Monday shows more across Illinois and Indiana, into Ohio, and a lot in those areas, so be aware. Into Tuesday, like Wednesday, shows more across Texas and more into Pennsylvania and parts of the Northeast. Next Thursday shows more across the Northeast there, and especially building the Gulf in Florida. Let's see, next Friday shows more in the Gulf as this system comes up, potentially turns into something. So check our last tropical update, and we'll make more tropical updates today or tomorrow, so stay tuned. And shows more rain in Arkansas, parts of the Northeast and the Northwest there. Day 7 next Saturday shows this comes into the Gulf there, a lot in Florida, in Louisiana, especially in Florida and Alabama there, so be aware, and more across the east in some areas. Day 1 through 7 shows a lot in parts of Washington, some in Texas there, a lot in Texas, shows a lot in most of Florida, like southern Florida and the Panhandle, shows a lot through the Midwest and Northeast, so be aware. Excessive rainfall is light through New Mexico, Texas, and parts of Oklahoma today, so be careful. There is some flash flooding with those storms. Some marginal in the Utah and Arizona areas there, and a marginal from New Mexico to Illinois, so be careful. Tomorrow another slight in Texas, southern Oklahoma, and a slight in Missouri and Illinois into Indiana, and a marginal from Texas to Michigan, so be aware. For Monday, shows another marginal from Missouri to New York. Tuesday, another marginal in Texas and New Mexico, and another marginal from Virginia to New York, so be aware. Next Wednesday shows another marginal from like Northern Virginia to New York, in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, so be aware. Let's see, snowfall, it shows those probabilities there in Colorado today. Some higher peaks, more than 70% probabilities, but most are like 10 to 40% probabilities. Tomorrow doesn't show anything, but I still see there will be some snow tomorrow. And if you go in some more detailed probabilities here, it shows like this is some bigger probabilities there, like 60 to 70% snowfall probabilities in those ranges there. Shows some in southern Colorado, but mainly the higher Rockies there, the front ranges, and some other areas. So be aware. This is 24-hour. Let's see. And 72 hours still shows some. And yeah, so be aware there. And this is the 48-hour snowfall accumulation from the National Weather Service. Shows more than Colorado, higher amounts in some higher peaks there, and basically there in Colorado. So be aware. And let's see, there's the 48-hour snowfall. Let's see, in terms of ice, doesn't show anything, it's too warm for that. And the max wind gusts in the next 24 hours, potentially some higher gusts parts of New Mexico, the plains especially some higher winds, and some airs there. And with the storms in New Mexico and Texas, there'll be some higher gusts too, but it doesn't show up here very much. And we still have some major to extreme heat risk in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, because we have like some 90s, higher 90s temperatures there, more 90s throughout the south and southeast, 90s there, and more 90s on the southwest, some 60s and high 50s in other areas of the mountains there, some 60s in the northeast. So let's see. Tomorrow shows some more 100s in parts of like Southern California, more 90s there, more 90s throughout the mid-south, southeast, and other areas. For, let's see, this was Sunday. Tomorrow, so for Monday shows more 100s on the southwest, more 90s there, more 90s on the southeast still. And let's see, day 3 minimum temperatures from Monday to Tuesday shows very low temperatures in the mountains in Wyoming and Colorado still. And day 2 from Sunday to Monday shows colder in the Rockies there, potentially those blues like 20 to 30 Fahrenheit, some higher peaks there, so be aware. Day 4 maximum shows like still some 90s in California, 90s on the southwest, and 100s there, especially in the southwest, some 90s on the southeast, some 70s further north, the maximum temperatures, and be aware. So day 5 shows like some 100s still in the southwest, some 90s there in the southeast. Day 6, so day 5 was like was Wednesday, so day 6 is Thursday, shows more 100s there, some 80s in the southeast, 70s, some 90s on the southwest, 100, so be aware. Next Friday shows like some 80s in the north, some 70s, some 100s on the southwest, and some low 90s and 80s in the southeast, so be aware. And let's see, in terms of other forecasts for the snow, the European model has like that snow in Colorado there. It has like some 7 inches, let's see, some 6 inches there of snow, 2 inches, even to northern New Mexico shows some snow there, 1 inch. And mainly in Colorado, those higher mountains there, let's see, 7 inches, so be aware. Even a snow or 2 in some higher mountains of Utah the next 5 days, so be aware. And the rest is kind of quiet. The GFS shows also that snow in Colorado, but more concentrated there in Colorado. And the NAM, and wait, the icon first shows like next 2 days the snow in Colorado there. The next 5 days a similar thing there in Colorado. Even shows a hint of snow in northern Washington there next 5 days. So be aware. And let's see if this works here. So this is the NAM. It shows like next 2 days, the snow there in Colorado, so some in northern New Mexico, higher in parts of Colorado, some 7 inches, so be aware in those areas. And this is the temperatures by the name. It shows like, let's just see if this is in Fahrenheit. So it shows in some higher peaks there, like 24 Fahrenheit. This is like at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., like in the late night and early morning hours. But it shows like 24 Fahrenheit, 31. So be aware. It's not there, it's like 52, some 50s there. Denver's 48. So yeah, this mainly in the mountains. Cold in some other mountains too. Some parts of the Sierra Nevada, some 35 Fahrenheit. And especially in Wyoming, like lots of areas southern Wyoming, the Rockies, some 29 Fahrenheit. Let's see, 31 Fahrenheit in other mountains there. So 31 in Montana. So be aware in those areas. And let's see. This mainly it. The rainfall, it shows there in the next like 22 hours or no 2 days, shows like more across Kansas, Texas there from those storms. Let's see, in inches, show like some 4 inches of rain, some areas there, some more across central Texas tomorrow, and Missouri there shows more rain parts of the northeast from those storms, so be aware. And this mainly it. So the hazards has the flood watches New Mexico and Texas, some heat advisories there, Oklahoma and Arkansas, and still the winter storm warning in Alaska for the snow there, winter weather advisories in Colorado already, so air quality in Southern California because of the fires. They already have some like frost advisories and freeze warning. There's a freeze warning there in Washington already. So let's see if there's something here. So there's the freeze warning, northeastern Washington. So some chilly mornings. Be aware, and the potential some frost. Even to Oregon, California, some flood advisories on the east coast and marine warnings. So be aware there. In terms of wind gusts, like shows the European shows still some higher winds in the plains today. The 40 miles per hour. In New Mexico shows like some higher gusts in the mountains there. The storms will be further east, but shows some higher gusts in the mountains too. In Colorado because of this. So be aware. Tomorrow some gusty winds for Texas, Oklahoma, maybe some areas of Colorado there. So be aware. And there's the name too. It shows those gusty winds in New Mexico, and also shows in Texas there. This might be from the storms too. Shows like some gusty winds, and but I don't think shows the storms here. And also in West Texas, some gusty winds. So be aware. You can see like this line here. This might be the line of storms because it shows like a tight line where the winds are stronger and weaker. So yeah, be aware in Iowa too and other areas. So let's see. In Canada, they don't show any storms today in the prairies. Northwestern Territory is also calm. British Columbia as well. And Ontario shows some storm potential in Ontario, but nothing severe. And Quebec shows a storm or two in western Quebec. Atlantic Canada is kind of quiet too. And let's see, they have some warnings out for the system British Columbia. Still some warnings in Ontario. So let's see. British Columbia, the rainfall warnings there. Central coastal sections and the special weather statements there. So series of successive storms impact British Columbia's north coast this weekend to next week. So be aware. The heavy rain and strong winds and stuff. So in Ontario, they have the rainfall warnings on Big Trout Lake, Brusque Lake, and some areas there. And Quebec, a wind warning in northern Quebec. Some frost advisories in Newfoundland and Labrador. So be aware there's some low temperatures at night, some frost. And Nunavut, did it show like some rainfall warnings there in northern Nunavut. And in the Northwest Territories, I think it's quite advisory still because of the wildfires and stuff. So be aware those areas. You can already see that system, the coast there, British Columbia. So, and a lot of snow for Yukon, parts of northern British Columbia, and even Alaska. So let's see this continues. Some heavy rain in the southern coast there. Be aware, might be some flooding and stuff. It shows another system Monday with some more snow in the mountains and heavy rain along all the coast of British Columbia and Alaska. So let's see. Tuesday, still some heavy rain and some snow there. Next Wednesday shows more snow from British Columbia and Alberta, with in the mountains especially, and some storms in Alberta to Saskatchewan. Next Friday, the 27th, shows the bigger season with a lot of snow there and rain. But this is the GFS, and it's like a week out, so we don't know yet. But for today, the European model shows like already a lot of snow in northern British Columbia, Yukon, and let's see the heavy rain the coast there of British Columbia, so be careful. Then Sunday to Monday, a bigger system there, like in Alaska and British Columbia, some more heavy rain and snow in the mountains, so be aware Monday into Tuesday, continuing to Wednesday, and then let's see, even northern Washington there and north areas next Wednesday and Thursday could have some more rain. Then next Friday, the Europeans also showing that season like the GFS with some very high amounts of rainfall and snowfall throughout British Columbia there, more rainfall down through Washington and southern Alaska and more areas. So we need to monitor these systems. The Europeans are already showing another big system like on the 29th to watch as well. So very active there. Stay tuned to the weather warnings and updates if you are there. So let's see, Central Canada shows some showers there in northern Manitoba, maybe a storm or two in the prairies, but to show like those showers there today, this evening, shows the potential some storms there. So although the forecast didn't show anything, I think there might be some storms there, but this might be like mainly some heavier rain at times, not anything very severe. Shows tomorrow in Ontario, a storm or two and some more rain. More rain there entering Quebec and other parts of Ontario, like Monday to Tuesday. And later quiets down a little bit, but we still might have some systems there in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and more stuff later. So be aware. In Eastern Canada, we have like a storm or two in Ontario. It shows there today. The other system, Western Ontario, shows like tomorrow that bigger cold front in Southern Ontario might have some heavy rain, some storms moving to Quebec as well. And then still left with some showers, but the next Tuesday shows a system coming north from the U.S. into Southern Ontario and going there like into Ontario, so some more storms and rainfall, and there into Quebec and emerging with a system on the coast later. So we have to watch that too. So be aware in those areas, and let's see. Rainfall accumulations until Monday, next 2 days for British Columbia, shows like already 200 millimeters, 119, let's see 224 millimeters, so a lot of rainfall there. Be careful if you are in those areas. Southern Alaska, some are too, especially on the southern coast there, and some for Yukon, but that's mainly snow. And then this next 2 days until next Tuesday already shows like 300 millimeters, like 369 millimeters in British Columbia, until the next Wednesday show like 400 millimeters for British Columbia, 300, like 200 in other areas there, 100. Let's see, and until next Thursday, the next 5 days, show like 400 millimeters in some areas of British Columbia there. So this will be like a parade of systems with heavy rain, so be careful. Southern Alaska show like 149 millimeters, let's see 71, 147 millimeters, so be aware there. Further north show like some 136, but that's mainly snow because it's mountain there. But southern Alaska like 159, so be aware. And you can see where the big systems are in the west there. Some rain in Ontario too, the systems into Quebec there. So yeah, be aware. This is the European. The GFS shows like in the next 5 days more than 300 millimeters there in those parts of British Columbia as well. So those areas should really be careful. 100 in other areas there, so stay safe. The icon has a similar thing, so the icon is like 200 millimeters in a big part of the coast of British Columbia into southern Alaska too. She shows a lot there, especially the snow. And let's see, in those areas the icon is showing like 700 millimeters, but the icon is exaggerating. It's been doing so this whole year, so don't mind that. We're like 400 300 millimeters is definitely possible, 200 millimeters, so be aware there, be careful. Some more for other parts of British Columbia. And let's see, the snowfall in the next 5 days. The icon is showing more in those mountains of southern British Columbia, some 13 inches there. Let's see, where's this in centimeters, like some 33 centimeters of snow, some more there, showing the mountains between Alberta and British Columbia as well, and showing like a lot in Alaska there, and in Yukon shows like those high mountains there, like 149 centimeters, 128, so be careful if you're like there. There's not many seas there, it's like quiet, but if you're like skiing or something, be careful with the storms. Shows more there between Alaska and British Columbia, like some 70 centimeters of snow or more. Southern Yukon shows a lot, and some big portions of central Yukon as well. Like most of these might be mountainous, but it does show a lot of snow for many areas, so be aware. Northern Alaska is showing a lot as well. That snowfall warning is, so be aware. Some mountains in southern Alaska, so be careful for other parts of northwestern territories between Yukon there. Northern British Columbia shows more snow as well, so be careful. And let's see, shows more Nunavut as well. Some parts of Nunavut might be a snow event there, and some other areas, so be aware. The European model has way less in Nunavut, but has a little bit, and it has some of the mountains of southern British Columbia there, like 30 centimeters, 25, more in between Alberta and British Columbia, so a lot in northern British Columbia, especially in the mountains. In Alaska, more than 120 centimeters, southern Yukon there, the mountains of Alaska, more than 150 centimeters, so be careful. Big portion of Yukon, more snow into northern Yukon, especially some areas there. Shows in Alaska there, there's no forward where the winter storm warning is, some more for southern Alaska in some mountains, and especially in the mountains there, so be careful of that snow. And let's see, the GFS is a lot in those areas too, like Alberta, British Columbia, into like Yukon and Alaska, so be aware. Into northern Yukon there, northern Alaska shows in Nunavut, northern Manitoba showing some too by the GFS. So let's see when this might happen. Precipitation type shows like all that snow, even small freezing rain probabilities at times. Then that snow continues, and it's already showing like some snow in Nunavut, and it continues there in Nunavut, and it even shows some brown spots there, like of mixed precipitation or something. So let's see, this shows more snow continuing in Alaska and Nunavut, and even the Arctic areas of Canada show like a lot of freezing rain throughout the northernmost areas there, the Arctic. And then the other systems on the coast, more snow in those mountains next week, so be careful there in those areas. The European model showing like a lot of wet snow, and snow mixed with rain there in Yukon and northern British Columbia, the northwestern territories. Even a spot of freezing rain or two in northern Alaska, some snow there. So let's see the rain there, and then does show like more systems next week with that snow and some other probabilities there. And then yes, so be aware, the European model is actually like next Tuesday, some more freezing rain, snow and wet snow there probability, so be careful. And let's see, the wind gusts might be strong with this system as well. The system shows, especially in the Aleutian Islands there in southern Alaska, some gusty winds from time to time. Let's see, and the European model showing like Sundays, the system goes to southern Alaska, more than 65 mile per hour gusts, and not areas there like 48 mile per hour gusts, so be careful. Then still some gusty winds in the coast and starts affecting Canada there. So let's see in kilometers per hour. Shows in British Columbia like Monday, some like 78 km per hour gusts. Let's see if there's something today with this system. Today it's still showing like some gusty winds from time to time, so be aware. Then Sunday still gusty winds in the mountains. Then we have this system next week, some gusty winds in the southern coast of Alaska and British Columbia still. And like next Tuesday shows more gusty winds in interior British Columbia, and then especially in the mountains near Alberta there in British Columbia, so next Tuesday afternoon, so be aware. And next Tuesday like morning actually, and then next Thursday it's showing a lot of good gusty winds there throughout the mountains of Alberta, British Columbia, especially like southern British Columbia there into Washington, and some more gusty winds throughout Oregon and other areas, so be aware. Next Thursday still shows those gusty winds continuing to Alberta there, like some spots in the mountains could get very high, northern Montana, and we get the new system approaching from the coast next Friday the 27th. This is a week out, so all the models might exaggerate a little bit, but the Europeans are showing like 105 123 km per hour gusts on the coast next Friday as this thing comes, so we will really have to watch for this next system. But that's a week out, so we'll keep checking. Nunavut shows some gusty winds today, Saturday the 21st, and let's see, show some gusty winds throughout Ontario tomorrow Sunday, so be aware. So temperatures still show like some mild temperatures throughout Ontario and Western Quebec, and those very cold temperatures there, like throughout Alberta, British Columbia, especially in the mountains, like 0 degrees, not areas there. So be aware, especially in Yukon, there shows some very low temperatures, especially in the mountains, but many places. Alaska is like in the Arctic already, so shows a lot of cold temperatures there. Yukon is also very high north. Nunavut is pure Arctic, so shows like some -3, -4, -11, so yeah, be aware. Northern Labrador and Quebec show some spots of lower temperatures as well. Even they had the frost advisories near Newfoundland, some 4 and 3 degrees, and 1 degree in other areas, so be aware those areas. And then during the afternoon, warms up there on the west, but still cold because we have the parade of season there, so it will remain generally cold. Might get warmer next Tuesday, some 20s there, but still generally like cold. And showing like next Wednesday the 25th, so like 27 degrees there, so we'll keep watching, but still like very cold there on the northwest, so be aware. And this mainly it. Stay safe. This is like the last day of summer. I hope you enjoyed it a lot, and happy autumn tomorrow. So bye.